Hey everyone, my name's Andy. I'll be your host today. We've got with us Casper or Uselink INV from YouTube and also um, Twitter or X. So thanks for coming on, Casper. Really appreciate it. Wanted to bring you on and talk about precious metals. In particular, I want to talk about platinum because it looks pretty dang good. I wanted to get your opinion on it, see what you're seeing in the charts. And so thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. And you can take it away.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Andy, for being back on again. It's a pleasure to do this every 3 weeks or so to talk to your audience, and I know for sure that they are getting some good value from what you do every day, the Twitter stuff and also the commodities technical analysis. So thank you for having me every 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So
No, thank you. So let's just start off. What's your opinions and what are you seeing around platinum?
I mean, it's no secret that both you and I have been, I would say, waiting. I haven't been turning really bullish yet, but I think today is that day. The last few times we were on, I said, 1050 is the big one. And the past few weeks, I also said that I think when we start to get above 1,000, both for platinum and palladium, actually, I don't, again, anything can happen, but I don't think we will go to triple digit again, ever. And it's a big statement. I could be wrong, but again, I hold my, you know, what I say, I think that is the truth. And I think we should look at the charts. They are looking good. They are
Yeah, so
looking
let's
fantastic.
let's dive right into platinum. Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's do that. So again, I haven't changed much ever since we talked last time. This has been my view for basically what feels like an eternity, but actually for the past year, that whole squeeze were, shown, and we have been doing absolutely nothing for a year and a half actually. Um, but the more we squeeze, the longer time you squeeze, the bigger the pop up or down. And I do believe that we are at that moment where platinum is finally gonna move. And we can zoom a bit back here. Again, I don't have, basically have back to 2005 here, but that's not, for now at least, that's not important. Um, but yeah, we peaked in 2008, as you know, massive trend line. And basically ever since the peak in 2021, we have been squeezing, around that trend line. And here it is, in my view. We are very close to break the two highs at 1050. We are up 5% today. Obviously, that's good. And yeah, I believe very soon we have the confirmation. But I'm going to say this is most likely the move where we're going to go to higher prices for platinum. And I think the view is even better on the ETF, the PPLT. So you can see here, very similar, but again, we are actually peaking above all trend lines that you can make from the highs. If you do wick to wick, if you take some internal trend lines that is going on here, we're breaking out on a massive, massive candle this week here. And this corresponds to roughly the 1,000 level on platinum. So in my view, we have Bollinger expansion as well. So in my view, platinum is ready. And I know you are very fond of platinum, and I have been holding my excitement back for the past few times we've been talking, but I think now I will join you and say, hey, platinum is with a very high percentage, a, you know, a multi-year, upswing here for platinum. Again, it's all
All right.
about
So
probabilities, but that's my view.
we'll see how bullish you are. How high do you think platinum is going to go in this bull market? I can share my opinions too. I mean, it won't be just 100% on you. So, um, how bullish are you? Where do you think we could potentially go? What's your opinions?
I mean, again, like I mentioned, there are, you know, if you take a different, ticker, there's a lot of price action going on 30 years back, even from this date. And that will come into play. But for now, I have my targets. That is, again, I have three targets basically. Um, and when they are hit, that's when the old momentum, 40 years back comes into play. But for now, I think we're going to go to the highs of 2021. That is roughly, 1,300, give or take. And then at the midpoint, 1,050, 1,500, 600, and then almost the bull trap high here at roughly 1,900. And from there, I think we're going to take a breather. Again, timing and how the duration, I don't know. Uh, but when we start to consolidate there, that's when, bigger momentum comes into play. And yeah, all-time highs will be reached. But right now, I'm in quotes only focusing on this. But there are, again, I don't have the pattern here, but the platinum price, in my view, I have an $8,000 target on gold as a base case, and I think platinum, my minimum target based on the momentum that is not shown here is 4,500, and that is lowballing it. So that is my my bear case. Again, this won't happen tomorrow or next year, but years from now. Again, the targets are given, the timing is not. So yeah, very bullish, and I think this is the early beginning. And most people won't buy platinum here. They will wait until you get the confirmation from the price. But I think the best risk reward entry comes, at this moment here. So for platinum.
Yeah, I'm in the gold camp. I think we'll go 8 to 15,000 in gold.
Mhm.
I think platinum could easily do something similar to that too. Maybe even if things get really weird with it, it's a possible that it could even do 2 or 3x the price of gold. So I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm not going to give a time frame. The time frame, if I were to guess, would be early to mid 2030s or something like that to get to that level. Would be my
yeah,
guess.
yeah. I
So
agree. Again,
there's mine.
yeah, I basically said that platinum is going to the half of gold, and I said that's lowballing it big time because I think the last bull market, it was the one prior. I think platinum went 3x, 3x or double the amount of gold. So yeah,
It was approximately 2.4, if you want to
yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. So
And I
so
think
yeah,
that's where we'll hit something like that again, but it may not be when gold peaks.
exactly,
So you might see
exactly.
platinum go up first, gold still going up, and then it'll peak, and then gold will go up after into the
Yeah,
2030s or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. And that's what's so difficult about ratios. We say, oh, silver is gonna be, 10 to 1 and all that good stuff. But that won't be, well, most likely not, where gold is peaking, right? So again, it's all about a ratio between the two. So gold might go to 8,000, let's say, but it could, and the ratio between gold and silver could, peak to the downside when gold is at 6. So again, or 4, whatever. So yeah, that's the tricky part with ratios.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of ratios, here's a observation maybe that I'm making, or maybe we can talk about it, but it hasn't occurred yet. But do you think it's possible that gold and silver could potentially trade sideways for a while and platinum rip against it, changing the ratios in the near term, kind of similar to 2020 of September, October, November timeframe? Because usually gold works very well in we'll call it the more fearful safe haven type asset, and then platinum does real well when that money comes into the system, which we saw in 2020 to 2022 or three or whatever. Do you think it's possible that that's occurring now, or it's tough to say?
Yes and no. Again, I think gold has led the way. So gold is up like 60% over 1 year. And again, if people are not considering how big of a move that is when it comes to gold, again, 60% in 1 year, that is massive. Went from basically 2,000 to 3,500. So even more than 60%. So again, I think platinum against gold, that could be during a period where gold is again, it might go up, but again, it will be a much more slowly. However, compared to silver, I think also when we go into the silver chart in a little bit, that this is actually these two is going up in tandem. So again, I think they will do very well, both of them, um, during the same time, basically.
So going into, well, let's go into palladium first, because platinum and palladium are pretty closely correlated.
Yes,
What
they
are you
are.
seeing in palladium?
Again, this is roughly the same chart that I had last time we spoke, and I'm still in the camp, and it's actually getting confirmed today with that beautiful weekly candle that this is a neckline, and we have the bottoms put in place here with a very non-textbook, head and shoulders, but it's still a head and shoulders.
It's a
And
double bottom, is what I see.
yeah, yeah, you could also call it a double bottom, yeah. But again, there's also a left shoulder, weird head, and then you have a very weird right shoulder. So again, each to its own. It's the same view that we're getting. I think the bottom here is being put in place, and it has taken over 2 years. And this to me is that moment where we have finally carved out a very weird right shoulder, but we're going to move to the neckline here. That's my next target at 1,250. And then again, you measure the target and you get to the same number as platinum. That is roughly 2K, give or take. Again, that's my target now. Again, there might be bigger projections, but right now this is my focus on Palladium. So yeah, Palladium I think looks really strong here, and it should do well over the next. Again, timing wise, it's difficult, but the next 1 year, 18 months, basically, I think Palladium will do well. Platinum will do better, but Palladium will do well. So
Platinum's going to outrun palladium here.
yeah, based on the chart, we have 4 years of basically compressed price. It's going to move a lot quicker than a big rounding bottom like this. So Palladium will do well, but platinum is going to do better, given the chart that we have been looking at for like a year, right? And finally, it's the momentum is coming in, so that's good.
We can hit the ratio charts at the end. I've got
Mm,
those all laid out. So that's good. Yeah, I have the same pretty close to the same opinion as you, about as close as you can get.
yeah, it's
So yeah, so what you're saying is in platinum, just so all the viewers, we kind of know it and we kind of skip over this sometimes, but it's due to the length that this thing has been consolidating. And that's your view is platinum's going to outperform palladium because it is consolidated for so long and created this gigantic compression zone over, say, the past 5 years, even. But then you
exactly.
also go back and you've got the compression since 2008.
Mhm.
So it's
Yep.
been squeezing, 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 squeezing. And when this thing goes, it's going to be very similar to some of the other charts that you've shown, like I think it was Coco, right? That blew out to the upside.
Yeah, Coco. Yeah, it was again one of the best looking chart 2 years ago. And again, that's actually a good point that you're mentioning this, and we didn't talk about this at all. When we talked about this call here, that is Coco. Again, I said is going to do absolutely insane moves over the next 5 years, and it took 18 months, and it overperformed the targets by two. So again, it's just going to show you that the timing, again, when we say in the next year or whatever, the timing of it is very difficult. And that's why I rarely say it's gonna, in 1 year's time we're gonna hit the target because that's almost never gonna happen. But the Coco, we can actually look at it, shouldn't we? Shall we? I think we should.
It's a very similar setup.
Yeah, it was basically this though. Again, you had in this case, you had 10 years, 12 years of basically a ceiling, and then you started the compression from the lower side. And that is just energy, like a spring. The more you wind it up, the bigger the tension, that is getting released and the energy. And yeah, we went way quicker than I would have thought. And what you're seeing here is the short squeeze. That is when, some people got hurt really, really bad in Coco. So
So
yeah, again, timing wise is difficult, really difficult.
that chart is the same chart as platinum. I mean, you've got the three hump consolidation, and then you got that squeeze from 2020 into that corner. It's the same chart almost.
Yeah, it has the same tendencies, but again, duration wise, you had like 12 years, you have four, and you had the legacy before that is a bit different, but the main component is the exact same, more or less. Again, nothing is the same, but it's more or less the same. And here you have 4 years of energy, and you're above that, 20-year trend line coming down from here. So again, once we really start to get going here, it shouldn't take long to at least go to the back to the highs of 2021. And until then, I don't see any big pullbacks at all. So
Here's another question. Do you think it's possible with this breakout that we could just send it to 2K real quick and get everybody confused, like how the heck did it move that fast? Is that a
Again,
possibility?
again, looking at Coco, I mean, it can easily happen. Again, as we saw on Coco, I didn't expect to reach those levels, and it basically did it 3 times as fast as I would have, imagined. So anything is possible for sure. Again, it depends on how many people that are short. Again, the size that they have on, and again, it's a whole bigger, complex, view. But for now, we just have to appreciate that. Hey, we're finally at the get-go here of platinum, and let's see how steep it gets, how much pressure that is built up in that whole system here.
Yeah, I hope it sends it real fast and then I can go hop on maybe another precious metal if the ratios blow out and I
And
could
you can
swap
swap,
it
yeah, yeah,
and get a whole bunch of another one.
yeah,
That would be very nice, is what I would say.
yeah. You did the Palladium Platinum swap, somewhat close to the highs of Palladium, so that's quite nice.
Yeah, I did it in April of 2020,
Mm.
and platinum was cheap too with the cheap premiums, so
Ah,
it
okay,
worked
yeah,
out
yeah,
quite well.
nice.
I was pretty lazy to go and exchange it, and then the 2020 event happened, and I was like, oh, now I got to do it.
Yeah, okay.
So okay,
It,
so platinum looks good, palladium looks good, platinum squeezing up, palladium squeezing up. Oh, you've got both of them put together, and that's PPPPP. Strat
exactly. That's
physical
the
palladium platinum.
yeah, these brought the Platinum and Palladium Trust. Again, I don't know if it's 50-50 or whatever how they do it, but to me again, this shows that hey, Platinum and Palladium as a combined entity is ready to go here. Again, you have roughly 1 year, excuse me, 6 months worth of nothing, very tight range, and that is a breakout from the range, but also from the overall downtrend with an internal, splitter in there in the middle. It looks good. It really does. To keep it simple, I think this is the beginning. And the good thing is, again, if you trade this or if you want to get out if you're wrong, again, if we let's say we do could happen. Let's say we do that and you're getting below that range that has stood the time for half a year. Again, that's your exit, but this is also your ticket, right? So you can see the risk reward there is 8 to 1 if you want to trade this as so the risk reward is now, and it's not when we have got the confirmation from the price. That's when you are, I wouldn't say late, but again, your risk is skewed. And that's not how it's not about how much you make, it's how much you risk earning that, kind of money. So yeah, really good view here of SPPP and a good way to actually get exposed, in my view. So
We've got strong platinum, strong palladium, strong obviously SPPP on this breakout here. What about rhodium, the other
the
metal that
other,
a
yeah,
lot of people don't follow, but
no, no. The
it looks
little,
good to
little,
me.
little sister. Yeah, it does. I mean, we had the breakout in March this year. So that is what, 2 months ago, basically. And we have been
Mhm.
both flagging ever since. So again, if platinum and palladium, which I think, again, as we talked about, is gonna go to the upside here, I can't see a reason why rhodium shouldn't follow. And it looks good, especially once we trade north of 700 here. That's when the whole bottom is, put in place, and we're looking for more upside. But again, the risk reward here is also really great, especially when we break the bull flag here and gets basically above 600, give or take. Then I think Rhodium again is confirming yet again that it's actually quite good. Again, we have a 4-year breakout here, bull flag above. That's always a positive view of any chart, commodity sector, stock, whatever. So
Yeah, so all these, I mean, they're all going to break out. They're all going to look probably pretty dang good. And obviously, the PGM miners are going to kill it because they sell all three of these metals
yeah, yeah, exactly.
generally together. So, yeah, that looks insane for all of the metals. Now, I know we have a lot of viewers, precious metals. They're probably want to talk a little bit about gold and silver and your views on gold and silver as well. But the platinum group metals, they look fantastic. Do you have any closing thoughts on the group before moving to gold and silver?
I have one thing, and that's again, I want to keep it short. I think don't go if you want to be exposed to the platinum, palladium, or rhodium market, don't go all, 100% into miners because it's going to be way too stressful. And they, again, it's just a mess. We have seen that in gold and silver lately. Gold has done really well, and half of the miners in gold hasn't done equally as good as the metal. So one way to do it is to be like, let's do like 50% exposed to platinum and or palladium. And SPPP is one good option. And then you have 50% left over, and you can find, two or three stocks within that little tiny, tiny group of stocks. And then just that's your leverage, and then you have the metal price to be exposed to. I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah, that's one side note to it.
Yeah, yeah, it's always good to know the vehicles to play when you have an idea to play. So going into gold and silver, you can start with whichever one you like, and yeah, what's your opinions around those?
Nothing much has changed since we talked last time. Did we talk before or after the tariff thing? I can't remember.
I think it
It
was
doesn't really.
before.
Was it before? Yeah. Again, it doesn't
I
really
think so.
really matter much. But I just want to pinpoint, and I even said it on your show and on Twitter and all that, that I think the moment March 2024, that was when gold broke out from that 2000, 75 level. That's also when gold broke out against inflation. And if you actually overlay silver and gold divided by inflation, you can actually see that that's also the moment where, in my view, the big 26 was the moment for silver. And long term, I have been bullish ever since, and that has not changed at all. Of course, silver is very frustrating because it likes to play with our feelings. It does nothing for like 90% of the time, and then all of a sudden it does everything. So we can look into the short term here. Again, long term, really bullish for the past year. Nothing has changed on that part. And so I wanna show it like this. So to me here now, the blue one is the 3-year uptrend. So that is the overall, hey, we're in an uptrend, all fine and good. And then lately we have let's call it midterm flag or channel, and then we have a short-term channel as well. So we have long-term, midterm, short-term. And we're now finally breaking the short term, which is the first, move in order to actually challenge the midterm, right? Where we get up to the upper end of the flag here. And I do believe that this is now, silver can be tricky, but it looks really strong here. And if we get to tag here, most likely we see the pullback, and we break on the fourth, like we often do. And that's when we're going to send silver, in my view, into the 40s. And that's when it gets tricky because just like cocoa and platinum, silver is by far, again, correct me if I'm wrong, the most shorted metal, that there is. So depending on the short squeeze, like we saw on cocoa and all that, I think we could easily see 50 as well. And then I'm not going to call anything higher than that. But this sideways, almost sideways channel, that's the big one for me to actually get into the 40s quite easily. And today is a good day. Oh, excuse me. Today is actually quite a good day. It's really trying to break that internal bull flag here after the Trump, massive sell-off. And then we have a flagpole, little flag here at the end. So silver looking very frisky. And you can also see that reflecting on the miners today also. It's not always that. Again, you can have days where silver's up quite nicely and you have the miners down. But now it's trying to break out. So the miners are seeing that. And that's why you see many miners is up 20% today as well. So interesting for silver.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. I'm guessing this would be the question that they would want to ask here. Silver and gold have been moving quite well over the past, couple of years or so, and the miners haven't really. A lot of the miners haven't done anything.
Yeah.
There's some that they're starting to get heated up. When do you think silver mining companies are going to really take off? Is $35 the level? Is 40 something? Is breaking 50 into new all-time highs? And you might not even have an answer because it's a very difficult question of timing, but when do you think the silver miners are going to engage?
To me, again, it's not simple, but again, my view has been this for like 2 years, maybe three, and that is the key to the mining sector when it comes to gold, silver, platinum, maybe even iron and all these other, groups is the gold and silver ratio. Because when that comes down, that's when miners do well. And I think I've done this on your show in the past. If you take the silver gold ratio and you overlay like the GDX, the correlation there is insanely precise. And the reason, as you so nicely said, is that silver miners, they have done well, but they haven't done exceptionally well, and that is because that ratio is so high still. And we had that big pop at 92. You had the ratio coming up to like 110, I think, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a bit less. And that was actually a period where you saw a brief drop in gold and silver, but then again, gold started to outperform, and the miners typically don't really care if gold, you can have silver go up, but if gold does more, the miners doesn't really react to that. It's when the other side come in and silver actually outperforms heavily, that the miners is gonna engage. So that also tells you how much, again, not tomorrow, but how much fuel that there is in the miners. Because I think we're gonna go way lower in that ratio over the next 10 years. I think we're gonna see very close to 10. It sounds insane, I know, but that's my view on the ratio, which is also something we have been discussing before. Um, but again, should we look at the SIL, even though we haven't planned it?
Sure,
The
sure.
SIL,
Yeah,
yeah,
go for
yeah,
it.
yeah, because again, I think the silver miners, the big one, is, as you can see here, depending on how you draw it here, we can maybe just skew it a little bit there. So you can also see here that actually the SIL hasn't really been breaking out. Again, has done well for the past year, up from 22 to 42. That's a big move. But the big breakouts hasn't happened. It has happened on the GDX. They have done really well. And I've said, the big 42, which by the way, again, funny story, is that 42, 0.42, and like 420, that number, the 42 comes up so often, and this is the case again. Once we clear 42, that's also my view when we start to really break down in the gold to silver ratio, and you see the silver miners do insanely well. And by insanely well, I mean that's when it's a bit of a cliche, but I think that's one of a moment where you only get once every decade or two, um, especially in silver and gold. So
Yeah, this thing looks ridiculous
yeah, it
when
does.
I
I
when
mean,
I when I look at it,
mhm.
and I get so a lot of here's I'll try to explain, and maybe it works for you, but here's my opinion. I get excited by looking at chart patterns and breaks of chart patterns. I don't get excited necessarily by something just going up. So a
Mhm.
lot of people get excited by the price movement. I get excited when I see a chart that's like squeezing into a corner, breaking out like platinum right now. It's like, man, that chart looks ridiculous. And that's where I get my confidence to like load in. Like that's the time I do it. I don't wait for price to run 30, 40, 50, 60%. Are you the same way, Kasper? Is it the breaking of the chart and stuff that gets you super excited, or is it the price move, or
it,
both?
it- I mean, of course, well, let's say if you have a stock that has been in a range for 1 year, and you have 3 days of it going up, let's say 5, and 10%, if it's still within that range, again, nothing is, that simple. It basically doesn't mean a whole lot, right? So again, once you break that range, that's when things are getting excited. So I completely agree. Again, that was very, black and white, but again, it's the break of structures that is the excitement part, not, this up 30% in a week and then down 25% the next week. It doesn't matter in my view. Again, to keep it very basic, of course. But yeah, I agree. I completely agree.
Okay, so you pulled up GDX. Obviously, you want to make some comments here.
It was just to show you that, and again, GDX broke in 2024. Again, these trend lines over here, we had a little bit of an overthrow there, fair enough. But again, gold miners has done really well and has been taking out recent highs, breaking structures. So the big gold miners has done very well for the past year, even though people, again, it doesn't feel like it. But if you take the 10 biggest gold companies, they are killing it. They are really smashing, most of them are doing insanely well from a charting perspective. You could take Wheaton Precious Metals or I can't remember the name, Fresnillo and all these guys. They are doing really well. So
So that's the ETFs and the silver. What about gold? What's your opinions on gold?
good old gold, yeah. This one is I want to because I did some charting to X. Very quickly made here, but that was the big moment for gold, 2000 and 75, which by the way, in my view, if I draw this one here without saying the name of the commodity, this is actually what we're seeing right now on one of the commodities that we have just been looking at. So this, in my view, well, that's platinum, by the way, and this is the exact same thing that we're seeing here. The only difference is that on gold you had a flat neckline, and here it is skewed a little bit. So again, both patterns are extremely bullish, and in my view, this is most likely where we are on platinum. Multi-year breakout leads to multi-year run. So that is again platinum. Uh, it's not talked about now, but I think it will be when we have reached higher prices and people are getting notified that hey, platinum might be something to invest into. But the best risk reward is roughly around now. So yeah. But that was a side note. Uh, like we talked about gold again, ever since the break, it was up 70% at one point. Now only in quotes 60. Still a massive move. And what typically happens is actually gold is front running inflation. And if that's the case, you know, that's also why you're seeing rates being so high, I guess, because inflation is coming down the pike here. And overall, gold is still a fantastic chart, and it has had a little mini blow off top here, in my view, and also something that I said, I think this within a few days actually to the subtag, I think this is a very high probability, local high, and there's a lot of things going on here, by the way. But this is basically the bull flag that was made ever since. And I can see here that we did break some internal stuff here. This is very short term, by the way. So again, from the long term perspective, ignore this. But again, gold has basically ever since the blow off top here been bull flagging. And until that changes, that's a very bullish view still. And whenever that resolves, it will take us higher. So yeah, gold still looks really good long term. Flagging in the short term, I don't really care. That's again, nothing goes in a straight line, and this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, so you're bullish on everything then.
Yeah,
I am too, though.
yeah, it doesn't happen often, but again, there's so much good things happening. Oil is lacking a bit. Again, I'm potential bottom again, but I want to see. We had a wedge breakdown. Like we can pull that up again. We didn't plan this, but it's totally fine because it's again we had a wedge breakdown here, and I know you follow this one very much as well. So this is
Yes.
the wedge breakdown, and again for now, short term, still nothing to be happy about. We have broken down, but again, if and I say if we start to trade back north of like 66, 67, that's when you should be a little bit excited because that's when you have a false breakdown. But until that happens, again, we have to be in the short term at least bearish. But again, 5 years out, I have a completely different view. Um, but for now, at least, oil is struggling a little bit. Um, but uh, but yeah, we are only 5% away, maybe seven from a false breakdown potential. And the saying from false breakdowns or breakouts come huge reversals, and that could be that one. But I think maybe next time we talk, we can have it update on oil in more detail. So
Sure, sure. How about I pull up a platinum to silver ratio here? Let's get some ratios real quick. I've
let's
got
do that.
some prepared if we want to talk about it and get your opinion on it. So here's my screen, and This is the I've got the buy silver for the ratio and buy platinum, and what I see is a falling wedge. There's a three hump consolidation there, and then we are at the bottom of this corner there that we could potentially break higher. We saw that at the beginning of the bull market back here of the last commodity bull market from 98, 99, pulling up. So one thing that I always try to look for is, at the beginning of the last bull market, what did platinum do in relationship to silver? And in my opinion, I think it's possible that this could come back up off this falling wedge and maybe even get back up to here. Uh, if I am so lucky enough for this to occur, I would then have the option, if it were to get back up here, to accumulate silver. I just don't know
Mhm.
where I would store it. It's so much because that's
Yeah, that's
100, 140, 150 ounces to every ounce of platinum.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what's your opinion on this? Is this what a lot of people want to do is they look at this chart and they say, I should go and trade my silver into platinum. And I'm like, whoa, 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 time out, time out.
Hmm.
Like, so what's your opinion on this chart? What do you think?
I will say again, if you are into metals, commodities, don't pick, either silver or platinum. Be exposed to both, and then you can again play the ratio along the way. But both platinum and silver over the next 5 years will do, in my view, really well. It just depends on when the other outperforms, and when they swap back around. So, but yeah, that is a falling wedge for sure. And again, I don't know this, but I could see this one drop out from the bottom and then come roaring back. Again, it's just purely feelings. Again, we don't care about feelings when it comes to technicals, but I think that's most likely is what gonna happen. Again, I could be wrong, but it is definitely a ratio to follow. And yeah, and by the way, it's not bad for silver that platinum outperforms. By the way, again, people are saying, "Oh, silver's going to come down." No, it just means that both will go up, in my view, and you will have platinum do better. So if you only love silver, again, I would suggest you own some platinum as well. You will still do, you know, fairly well. So again, it's not that silver's going to come down. It just means that platinum is going to do more. So. But for now, again, silver is the best one here until you get the break. You're still in a downtrend overall. You haven't made any higher high, so anything in the ratio. And that's why, as you say, when and if that wedge breaks to the upside, that's when you should, again, potentially start to consider swapping some silver for platinum and play that ratio if you want to.
Here's the platinum to palladium ratio, just to
Nice.
show it, because we were talking about both these metals. And when I purchased palladium, I was so lucky enough to do it in two locations, here and here is where I got it. Unknowingly, with respect to this ratio, I didn't know it at that time. I was a newer investor, and I swapped it knowingly right at this month here, April of 2020, because I saw that the premiums were low. I tried to swap some into silver, but silver, they jacked the premiums way up
Hmm. Yeah.
during that time, and I couldn't get the physical metal anywhere near the paper price. So the paper price went down,
14?
it
Yeah.
went to like 11 or 12
Oh,
or
11.
something like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
in 2020. And then they jacked the premium up, and I couldn't do it. So that's why I swapped in all of it into platinum.
Yeah. I
But
think,
you can
again,
see the
correct me if I'm
ratios
wrong.
coming back
Yeah.
up,
Yeah, that's
which
a
is good.
great, sine wave, by the way. So that's really, really
You
precise.
like that?
Yeah, it gets me going again. Cycles, it's a pretty good one. But yeah, I think the premiums for silver back in 2020 was somewhat close to 100%, if not more. So
Yeah.
that was pretty rough. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, another cool ratio that not a lot of people talk about. This is palladium to silver because we've talked about both. And these were like the all-time buys for silver because we also have ratios like gold to silver and those other ones. So when these come down, silver outperforms palladium, and then you want to get palladium, in these bottoms over here. I think we could still get a spike lower, maybe, perhaps, and that would be your ultimate entry point for palladium if we were to get a spike like that. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I
We'll
think
see what
something
happens
that
here.
I've looked into on ratios that typically the second spike that you get, that's the low or the high in that, other in the commodity itself. Not the first one, but the second. And you can see that in the gold silver ratio as well. If you're, going back a few years. So again, it's all about a ratio, and that's the important part. It doesn't mean the exact low for or high in the two metals. So, but it's typically the second big low in the ratio. That is where you swap. Not always, again. So
Yeah, you're saying like this double bottom kind of.
yeah, you have to look at the basing structure of it in order to get it correctly. You can see silver peaked at 2011, so I think that's roughly around the second low there at the top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
somewhere
roughly.
near.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah, so that's all I've got to share. I just want to share a couple of ratios of this stuff that we've been talking about. I don't have the ratio chart, but rhodium was cheap against all the other metals in 2016, and that was like the all-time bottom to just absolutely load in at like $600 an ounce.
yeah, I can't remember the price for rhodium, but didn't it go to like 30K?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's
600-ish to
30K.
29,000 something.
Yeah, that's what's that, 50x or so? That's
It's a huge move, and obviously
incredible.
platinum does that.
I think
Yeah,
again, correct me, but I think rhodium is by far the smallest markets of the three, right? Again, it's palladium, platinum,
a
and
million
then
ounce market a year, I think. Yeah.
yeah, that's nothing. So yeah, that's
And there was
why.
a catalytic converter and some more stringent emission standards that required higher loadings, which
Okay,
drove the price way up.
okay.
Yeah. So anything else that you'd like to share, Casper? I don't really have too much else, at least chart wise, but
I mean, nothing much. Again, when we talk about this is the perfect buy for platinum and palladium. Again, and I think most people know this. It's all based on probabilities. Nothing is 100%. But again, the best risk reward, in my view, is now for platinum specifically. But also, again, palladium looks really, really good. It's all a numbers game. You have to remember that, and that's why, like I like to do to have a stop. Again, if I'm incorrect, I know you play it differently, but again, each strategy has pros and cons. You can say, but platinum palladium here, risk reward wise, looks fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
and I
And I've been
believe
waiting
you
one
said,
year, yeah.
oh, go for it. Sorry.
And I've been waiting. I think we've been waiting 1 year, 1.5 year, in order to say that because I know you like platinum, and again, the chart looks fantastic. But I think this is the moment where we both can agree that it's most likely the time.
Yeah, I think you said that platinum today is like gold at under or around 2000, right?
The big breaker in 2075. That's where we are very close to today for platinum. From again risk reward perspective, and the chart pattern is basically identical, except that skewed neckline on platinum, but still basically the same. So yep, I think that's where we are on platinum, and gold went up 60% during that period. Will platinum do more? We have to wait and see, but yeah, it looks good.
And gold may not be done yet. Don't count it out.
It's not done yet. Again, short term, yes, we might see, some fizzling and boring stuff. But the long term, talking years out, again, as you said, 8K, I think is a walk in the park. And people, again, it's only rough, again, rounding it here, but it's only 100% away. Again, a little bit more, I know, but again, it's not much. And you can see some crappy stock or whatever crypto coin do that in a day. So why can't gold do that over 2 years? Right? I mean, so yeah.
Yeah, so that's all I've got. Anything else? Anything that you'd like to say? Anything that you want to have any closing comments or anything like that?
Again, I think most people know again, follow me on Twitter if you want to. I have my YouTube channel and my Substack. where I do most of the work for individual stocks, but also commodities like platinum and palladium. And again, today here just released a video on all the three metals, but also the 8 stocks that we look at when it comes to platinum and palladium, the buy signals and the potential targets in a very difficult sector to get right. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, so that's all I have to say. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and everybody put something in the comment section to support Casper, help the video out too. And that's all I've got for today, guys. So we'll catch you later. See you guys.